Hey everyone, it's Allison here with New Little Life. Today we're going to be answering a question that I've been seeing pop up a lot from moms all over the world, which is, should you breastfeed if you're sick? So today we're going to talk about that. We're going to answer that question and then give you some ways to do that and keep it going in a safe and productive way. Okay, so to start off and answer that question, the answer is yes. Yes, you should still breastfeed even if you're sick. Now, there's a few very rare exceptions when you shouldn't breastfeed, but those are very uncommon. For instance, if you have HIV that's uncontrolled, you have an active case of untreated tuberculosis, open herpes sores on your breasts. Those are things that you need to consult with your physician about to see if you can continue breastfeeding until that's under control. But if you have a cold or COVID-19 or mastitis, you usually definitely should keep breastfeeding. The CDC also agrees and says that breast milk provides protection against many illnesses. There are rare exceptions when breastfeeding or feeding express breast milk is not recommended. So when we look at the risks versus benefits of breastfeeding while you're sick, the benefits clearly outweigh the risks. Your baby is getting so many antibodies that your adult immune system has made that their little tiny immune system couldn't possibly make. So we weigh the risk of them getting sick versus the benefit of all the antibodies, nutrients, everything that's awesome with breast milk as a benefit, and it's very clear that you should continue to breastfeed. So how do you keep your baby from getting sick while you're breastfeeding? Here's a few ideas for you. Now, it really depends on what kind of sickness you have, so I'm just going to list out several ideas. Obviously, if these don't apply to you or your situation, then don't do them. This is just a general list of ways to stay safe while you're breastfeeding. A lot of these are super obvious, like wash your hands. So wash your hands before you feed your baby or before you're touching your baby a lot. Also try to avoid kissing them, which I know can be really hard, but especially if you have an illness, upper respiratory infection kind of thing, try and keep your face away from their face for a few days while you're getting better. You can keep a little bottle of hand sanitizer next to you if that's easier as well. And if you have a respiratory infection or something that can be spread that way, like COVID-19, we're all currently involved in this pandemic, you should wear a face mask while you breastfeed. And that's just going to reduce the amount of particles and things that are coming from you potentially getting to baby. You can make an easy cloth one at home, and I'll put a link in the description for you on a tutorial there. A scarf, anything from just keeping you first touching your face and passing it that way, and also coughing or spreading infection. I know it can be a huge pain in the butt, but we're probably all getting pretty used to wearing face masks everywhere, and I don't see that changing anytime soon, unfortunately. Double check any medications you're taking. Make sure that the doctor that's giving you any medications knows that you're breastfeeding. Some are not compatible with breastfeeding, a lot of them are, and a lot of healthcare providers aren't necessarily trained in lactation. So if you have a question, you could ask the pharmacist, although they're not always trained in lactation either, but an IBCLC or lactation consultant could definitely help you figure out if that medication is safe for breastfeeding. Keeping your household surface areas clean is also a great idea. So not a stack of tissues behind you, wipe down your breastfeeding chair every day if you can, and just try and keep things clean. Places you know that your baby's going to be will also help reduce the chance of spreading infection to your little one. Do you need to wash your breasts before you breastfeed? The answer is no. You don't really need to be washing with soap, water, sanitizer, things like that, your breasts. Please don't do that. Your breasts are fine. Shower when you can. You don't need to clean them before you feed the baby. This also applies in most cases directly after birth. So I know right now we are dealing with this COVID-19 and they're testing moms in the hospital, and I don't think they're taking babies away anymore, which I think some places were for a while, which was really unfortunate. But the benefits of breastfeeding usually outweigh the risk to the baby. So unless your baby is ill or premature or something else is going on, usually it's best to keep breastfeeding. So make sure you have that conversation if this is another issue for you. Now, if you're just really not comfortable handling your baby while you're sick with something, you can express your breast milk and feed it to them another way. Bottle, syringe, cup, finger, SNS system. Got another video on lots of different ways to feed your baby that's not a bottle. But there are a few things just to keep in mind if you're going to be pumping for your baby while you're sick. First of all, don't skip feedings. If your baby's eating, you need to be pumping every 3 hours. That also includes through the night most of the time. Now, you could be breastfeeding a 2-week-old or a 2-year-old, and obviously your schedules are going to look very different. But don't skip feedings. Get in touch with a lactation counselor if you need some help figuring out a pumping schedule, and go from there. Again, wash your hands before you start pumping. You need to follow the owner's manual for your breast pump on how to clean all the supplies. You need to be sterilizing bottles and nipples. Ideally, a partner would be doing that who's not sick, or someone that can help with the baby, but you just need to make sure that anything that's going in the baby's mouth is clean and has been touched by the sick person as little as possible. Get some sanitary wipes and wipe down your pump every once in a while. Just kind of try and keep things clean. You don't have to go crazy though. I mean, don't go crazy trying to clean every tiny little thing and sterilize everything. Just use common sense and try your best to reduce the chance of infection to your little one. And don't be afraid to ask for help. If you are sick and you're worried about giving it to your little one, find someone that can help you. A mother, a friend, a partner, someone that can come in and help take care of both of you for a few days. It's also pretty common for your milk supply to dip a little bit if your body's trying to fight off a sickness. It has a little bit less energy to devote towards breast milk. So definitely make sure you're not skipping feedings. Pump in between if you have to, and make sure you keep up that milk supply. You've got to eat and drink, especially if you've got a sickness that is sending things out of you quickly. Try and make sure that you stay as hydrated and fed as possible. It's really important. So, should you breastfeed if you're sick? Almost always, yes. Check with your lactation consultant if you have questions on whether or not that's right for you, and your healthcare provider can also help give you an idea of how to go about doing that safely. If you have more questions, post them below. I'd love to answer them for you. Wishing you a speedy recovery, and we'll see you next time.